If you can learn to incorporate the information that I'm going to give you in the next 15 minutes, it can change your life. Before I start teaching you about the brain, and this is the foundation of Tame the Brain, we're going to do a little quick quiz. You just went up based on what your emotions are telling you to do. How would you react? Okay, so first one, ready? You're in the middle of the street and a car comes right at you. Would you do A, B, or C? Second situation, you are on a nice walk and it's a beautiful spring day. And all of a sudden you see what seems like a snake in the middle of the road. Do you react with A, B, or C? All right. You are now working on a big assignment for work or school, and all of a sudden the internet goes out. You do all the little tricks and nothing happens. So you probably are going to have to call, but you probably need help somehow. So are you going to do A, B, or C? And last on the quiz, a loved one comes to you that you live with, a roommate or family member, and accuses you of things that you didn't do. How do you want to react? A, B, or C? Now I'm going to move on. We'll come back to that. And I'm going to discuss the parts of our brain. This is the foundation of the class. You will be able to go to almost any mental health advice, look at this foundation and see how it works with it. Want to hear? Okay. So if you are in the middle of the street and a car is coming, most of us are going to run out of the way. Do we sit and think about it? Do we go, I wonder what our best option is? No, our hearts are going to race and we are going to run out of the way. That is thanks to this body part or brain part that is called the amygdala. Some people call it the primitive brain. It has a lot of nicknames, but we're going to just use the word amygdala. Fight, flight, fright part of the brain. It reacts quickly. It communicates. This is through nonverbal communication to another person. They can feel it. You can feel it. It is quick acting. But it is not a reasoning part of the brain. It's meant to protect us so that we don't have to use a lot of brain power to make it react. We just automatically react. All right, it's a great part. We really need it. And people who don't have it very well struggle. We're on to our next part. It's called the pre-frontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the reasoning part of the brain. This is a fantastic part of the brain because it helps us make decisions. It helps us look over a situation calmly, look at all of our options, and make the best decision. This is the part of the brain that works best as we're learning and that way we can go, if you learn it really well, it passes through the prefrontal cortex, it can go into memory. This is the part you're mindful in, and this is where you can reason. All right, here is a little bit of info that is super important to know. One is amygdala and prefrontal cortex generally do not work together. So if you're in your amygdala, the reasoning part of your brain has shut down. So that is magical when you can learn that. The prefrontal cortex is a slower part of the brain. Just that little nugget of information incorporating it and looking for it can be life-changing in your mental and emotional health. Let's give an example. So, if you have, let's say you're watching your child, and they're having a fit, it is not the time to reason with them because the reasoning part of the brain has shut down. You are probably, unless they're a child that can go in and out of the different parts of brain quickly. Some people can't. You're going to have to wait for them to calm down so you can talk and reason later. So you either need to make your rules beforehand or afterhand. The reasoning part has shut down. You have to wait for that to calm down. So your best bet is to help them learn how to calm themselves down. Let's say that you're, I don't know whoever it is, if you can recognize that they're in their amygdala and go, they aren't reasoning right now, it's a waste of breath, don't get into it with them. Don't get in an argument. Or if you're on Facebook and you can tell even when people are in their amygdala on Facebook, their reasoning brain hasn't shut. You can't reason with them. They have made their mind up. They're using words like always, never. They're using labeling words. That's usually a sign that someone's in their amygdala. And that reasoning part, you're going to just go back and forth and make yourself sick. And what happens when people are in amygdala at you, it's really easy for you to slip into your amygdala, and it makes everything worse because neither can reason. What's even more magical to recognize it in yourself, going, wow, I'm in my amygdala, I cannot problem solve. And so what do I need to do is, so your first strategy would be to kind of calm down the amygdala. And I'm going to give you a lot of strategies to calm down your amygdala and help you recognize how to calm down your amygdala. Okay, let's go back to our original quiz, okay? So the first time, what would you do if you saw a car running? I'm going to answer the way I would, what I would for sure do. So the first one is run out of the way. That is due to my amygdala. I wouldn't think about it. I just run out of the way. Fight, flight, fright. Second one, I see a snake. This has happened to me and my daughter. We went on a nice, beautiful walk one day and saw this great big black, and it was raising his head, snake, and we ran out of there. But, however, let's say that you are like snakes and you know what ones are poisonous and what aren't. Then you can use your prefrontal cortex easier. The amygdala is a lot shorter because you're like, oh wait, that's a water snake, it won't hurt me. And you walk right by it, right? So if you know more about it and you're prepared and you've used your prefrontal cortex beforehand and know a lot about it, you wouldn't be as scared. What if I looked at it and freaked out and then I looked back and noticed it was a stick? It would take a second for me to calm down, but then my reasoning prefrontal cortex could look at it and go, oh, that's a stick. I'm safe. I can walk. Obviously, I don't have to turn around. See how it works? Okay. And so different things affect people differently. So number 3, the computer's not working and it's upsetting and you can't fix it. You can't figure it out on your own. So guess what, guys? So if I follow through with what I want to do, what my emotion, amygdala is motivating me to do, my answer is I try to avoid it. I don't want to do it. So I kind of hope it goes away, or I just try to distract myself. I don't problem solve it. Why? I have phone anxiety. Is my phone, does that make sense? First of all, am I in danger from my phone? Is AT&T going to come and it's dangerous for me? No. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's pain. I don't like it, but it's really not, I'm not in danger. But my body, because my amygdala feels the same as if I was in danger. See how that amygdala is really a great thing in our brain to keep us safe. But our amygdalas can go off and make us feel like we're in danger when we're not in danger. That is really fascinating. So as soon as I can recognize, whoa, I'm in my amygdala, calm it down, but I got to problem solve it. Use those strategies. I'm going flight. That doesn't solve it, but just even recognizing I'm in my amygdala helps me to go, well, I'm not in danger. It helps me remind myself of my prefrontal cortex, I'm not in danger. That's just my amygdala telling me I am. Okay, because I can't problem solve. All right, 4th. Someone yells at me, and you know what I want to do? I want to yell at them back. How dare they treat me unfairly? I want to scream and yell back at them. Is that going to help the situation? No, that's my amygdala. Fight, flight, fright. It was my fight. Now, sometimes we need to fight back. That's why we have that fight, because we have to protect ourselves. Sometimes we need to, but I'd say 70% of the time, if we follow that urge to fight back immediately with our amygdala, we may say things we don't want to, and that gets us into trouble. So even though I want to, I need to stop that, use some strategies, and calm down enough so that I'm in my prefrontal cortex when I respond to somebody. So what is really important, and you need to start doing, is recognizing when you're in your amygdala or when you're in your prefrontal cortex, and recognizing when someone else is. Realize the problem-solving part of the brain has shut down. What can I do to calm this amygdala down? Is it appropriate for this amygdala to be working? Sometimes it is to follow through, and we'll be talking about all sorts of strategies on this. But this is the basic. This is the foundation of Tame the Brain. Know when you're in your amygdala. Know when you're in your prefrontal cortex. Recognize when you're in amygdala, and it's okay if you are. A side note: some of us struggle are more in our amygdala than others. Okay, I call this the Viking brain. I think that's kind of fun. I actually have written books about the Viking brain. You know what? Some of us are born with that, more of a brain like that does that. Just like some people need I need glasses. Some people have diabetes. So some people have brains just have their very strong amygdalas. They were born that way. Others, trauma has made it more likely that they're that way, and others, sometimes it can be drug, alcohol. There's a lot of different reasons. What's important is that you recognize your own self and don't judge it, but start recognizing, ooh, I'm in my amygdala. Ooh, I can't reason very well. What can I do? Okay, foundation, Tame the Brain, life-changing. Thanks.